Hello and welcome back to the Common Colt Podcast, the Colts podcast with real takes and no clickbait. I'm Josh Hudgens, joined by Dan Hertzler. Dan, what's up?
Not too much, man. Hey, we got the start of OTAs right now in Colts. Pretty important part of this offseason here. I know not a lot's going to be, decided here, but we're going to get some information, but not quite yet. So we got to hold off a few days. I think until the media gets a little bit more, involved in that. But we want to talk a little bit about kind of projections and looking ahead. There's some stuff going around in the national news that has the Colts kind of ranked really low in some of these power rankings. Josh, what's your thoughts on power rankings in general, or what's your thoughts on the Colts, optimistic from a national perspective?
Yeah, power rankings obviously always cause a lot of controversy. Colts being bottom 5 in just about every national power ranking. Yeah. Honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with their kind of ranking area. I do think there's some teams I see them ranked below that I kind of shake my head at. But with the type of season the Colts had and with kind of a lot of question marks, I can see why the quote-unquote experts are saying the Colts aren't a top 20 team in the NFL right now. Is there any team you're really looking at that you're like, hey, the Colts should really be higher than X team, or what you thinking?
Yeah, for sure. And I get it. Again, what are power rankings in, end of May, beginning of June? They mean nothing, but it is something fun to talk about. And it is interesting how the national news sees them. Sometimes as Colts fans, we can get a little bit biased. If we're honest. We can get a little bit overly optimistic. No. Okay, we think, everyone's going to be a Hall of Famer. And so it's perspective a little bit. But, I look at this list and I see, this one that we're looking at here, Colts are 28th, which is just shocking to me. I see, Chicago Bears ahead of us. I see the Panthers ahead of us, the Titans ahead of us, Falcons, Raiders, all those teams right there. To me, I just don't see them any better than the Colts. And, when you look at the Colts, and I think we're going to talk about this in a second, last year they had a lot of close games. I think you got a stat for us.
Yeah, right around 7 games they lost or tied that was within a touchdown, within a one-score game. And think about the amount of games that were close going into the third and fourth quarter where the offense just couldn't get much going, and then they really sputtered out, and then they lost by 2 scores, whatever the case may be. They had a lot of close games last year, and which is why I think that you look at these power rankings, you look at the national media, and why I think the Colts are going to shock the NFL in 2023 and surprise a lot of analysts with just maybe something they aren't going to see coming. And I think obviously it starts with the head coach, Shane Steichen.
Yep.
And you look at last year, we had Frank Reich, and I think his message or his time just kind of came to an end. It was time for him to go. But then we had Jeff Saturday for a lot of weeks, and it was fun for 1 week against the Raiders. And then after that, it was not so fun for us.
Yeah.
Well, we got Anthony Richardson, so maybe it was fun. But the truth is, we improved immensely at the head coach and just the coaching staff, I think, which is going to help in those close games. It's going to help with game management, and it's going to help with the offense. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think you're pointing to exactly the same points I have with the head coach. To me, has the potential to flip 3 or 4 of those games instantly, just on play calling, aggressiveness, decision-making, game management. We know Frank Reich wasn't really great on that. We don't know what Shane Steichen will be, but all the projections is going to be more aggressive, a little bit more analytical kind of in his decisions on going on 4th down, going for 2, all that kind of stuff. You also got to look at all those one-score games. We had a lot of injuries last year. You look at Jonathan Taylor, you look at Shaq, you look at just the fact of our quarterback kind of in and out with whether Matt Ryan was healthy or not, or whether he's just old and just washed up. Those affected it as well too. So I think those 2 things right off the bat, the head coach and just a healthier team, is going to be very optimistic. But it could also go kind of south too. We're both kind of realistic in that too. We're not projecting the Colts are going to make the playoffs. Yeah. But we think if some things bounce right, they could. But if they bounce the wrong things, could they be picking top 5 again next year?
They could be. They could be. I mean, let's be real. I mean, there's a chance Gardner Minshew comes out and Richardson just isn't quite ready yet to play. Yeah. Now, the truth is, looking at the Colts offense this year, if Richardson does come out early and he is who we hope he can be, and he's not going to be perfect, and he's going to run a lot more, I think, early in his career than he will in later seasons. Yeah. But I think Richardson can be better than whatever the Colts trotted out at quarterback in 2022. I mean, Matt Ryan, it was the epitome of washed up. And then we had Sam Ellinger. We had Nick Foles, who was washed up and never very good in anyway. So, I mean, it's just going to be better. And then you look at Jelani Woods, who had a solid rookie campaign despite all that trouble at quarterback. You look at Alec Pierce, who had a solid rookie campaign despite all that trouble at quarterback. And you have Kwity Paye on the defensive side of the ball, who's banged up, playing through some injuries. He's going to have Shaq Leonard helping him out. He's going to have Buckner helping him out. This team, I think, if they can gel together and they can buy into the system, and the offensive line can kind of come back to, which really this whole team is really going to be anchored by this offensive line if they can find their old form. I think it's going to shock people. I'm not saying playoffs, but man, they can win. They can win some games, especially with their schedule this year. Their schedule is not that tough. It's really not.
Yeah, that's one of the things really in the Colts' favor. You look at the rest of the division really didn't get that much better. Titans, Texans, really honestly in rebuild. I don't know if the Titans admit that yet, but they are. Yeah. Okay. The Jags played really well, but they're still a young team. And whether that was a one-year wonder or whether that's here to stay, we don't really know that. They got the NFC South, which is all starting brand new quarterbacks and the new systems for these quarterbacks. So there's a lot of favorable things there. Again, a few injuries. Maybe Richardson has a lot more rookie mistakes than what were you ready for. It could go the other way. But bottom line, Josh, okay, here, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are you thinking? Okay. You think right now that, this one, again, it's just for a reference sake, they're at 28. Do you think this team could make it out of the 20s? Could you think they could make it into the teens in a power ranking, pushing on the edge? We're not going to say playoffs, but pushing on the edge. What's your prediction? You think yes, no, or you're not ready to make that yet?
I'm not afraid of making a claim and running back on it. They're going to be top 20. They're going to be top 20. I mean, looking at these teams that you just listed off 4 of them. I mean, the Raiders, the Bears, the Falcons, maybe the Panthers, Titans, I think, are, like you said, are regressing. And look, they took a quarterback the last 2 years now. They took Willis, and now they took Levis. The Titans are trying. They don't know where they're going. So the truth is, we're within striking distance of really being the second best team in our division. And that puts you close to top 28 right there alone. So, hey, I'm optimistic, but I'm an optimist. What about you? Sometimes you have to reel me back in.
Yeah, no. Usually I do, but this time I'm actually in your camp on this one, man. I'm right there with this team, and again, a lot of it is Shane Steichen. What I believe he's going to bring to me, and these young guys, the guys you mentioned, the second-year players you mentioned, Josh Downs, you got Richardson. I think their offense is going to give them a chance a lot more. Last year's offense, it was just like, let's just hopefully get some points anywhere. Like if we could get any points, that's great. And then hopefully our defense keeps us in striking range. I think this offense has potential to put up some points. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to blow some games, but I think this team is going to impress and shock the national narrative, the national news on the Colts. So I think Colts fans, again, we still should be optimistic. Don't worry about it. Don't get all bent out of shape, but realize that, hey, the national media thinks this team's a bottom 5. We think we're a lot better than that, and I think the Colts are going to show that.
Hey, guys, let us know what you think. What's kind of your projections for this year? How do you kind of see some of this stuff playing out? There's a lot of reasons. I know Anthony Richardson's a big deal, and I know the quarterback position is important, but we have a lot of stuff that, if it goes for us the right way, can really shape our season and shock a lot of people. So we appreciate if you guys would obviously subscribe to our channel and comment your thoughts. It would mean so much to us. But hey, until next time, thanks for watching the Common Colt Podcast.